Hey 7th graders, I hope you're having an amazing day so far. Today you guys are going to be doing activity 2.3. Obviously, if you are looking at the screen in front of you right now, you have found your assignment in Teams Assignments. You won't be filling out anything in Amplify, so hopefully you guys are watching this video right now and know that nothing will be filled out in Amplify, but everything will be filled out right here in this PowerPoint that was linked to Teams Assignments. Obviously, again, if you're watching this video, you have found the link to the video, all right? All right, so for your bell ringer today, I want you guys to open your OneNote and add key concept number 7 to the key concept page of the traits and reproduction section of your OneNote. Okay, so key concept 7 says an organism has 2 copies of a gene for each feature. You guys look at your OneNote, you can see the traits and reproduction section, key concepts page, and looky here, there's key concept number 7. An organism has 2 copies of a gene for each feature. If we look back at our learning target for today, you guys can see that I can explain why organisms have 2 copies of a gene for each feature, but you guys should also be able to explain how those 2 copies lead to the production of different proteins, which lead to different traits. So to start that off, we're gonna go down to activity 1 here. You guys have a little video to watch. You guys should be able to right-click this little hyperlink and open the link and watch this video, okay? Obviously, we're not doing a homework section right now. We're not on lesson 2.2, so just ignore that part. What plays after that, starting right about here, should be a little video on the Scottish fold cats. So watch that video. That's the main thing I want you to focus right there. Okay? All right, so once you guys have watched that, you guys can go ahead and move on to the activity 2 simulation. I posted 2 figures on slides 4 and 5 for you guys to just kind of look over and think about, but I'm going to explain them really quick. So we have Anne. Obviously, the trait that we are studying right now is how much hair they have. So you guys can see that Anne has dense, hairy legs. Okay, poor Anne. Or I guess bristles would be the proper trait. And you guys can see that in her cells, she has just the one type of protein right there. So protein number 1. If we look at her genes, she has 2 copies of the R1 gene. So R1 obviously makes protein 1, and this R1 also makes protein 1, and that causes her to have these dense bristles. So Anne makes 1 type of protein for the bristle feature. Okay, however, we have Leo. He has sparse bristles. He has the genotype R1R2. Okay, so we can see R1 and R2. He got 1 copy from mom, 1 copy from dad. So one of those, like maybe the R1 came from his mom and the R2 came from his dad, or vice versa. Those have caused him to make not only protein 1 like you saw with Anne, but also protein 2. So obviously the R1 gene made the R1 protein, and the R2 gene made the R2 protein. So Leo makes 2 types of proteins for the bristle feature. All right, so for your simulation today, you guys should be able to right-click this link and open it. And it should take you right to the simulation, assuming you guys are logged into Clever, which you should be seeing how you are sitting right here watching this video on this assignment. Okay, so your instructions are right here. It talks about partner A and B, but since you guys are working by yourselves, you guys are going to be partner A and B. I would like to say you have twice as much work, but this assignment today is pretty short for you guys. Okay, so for partner A, you guys are going to decide on which feature to focus on. Obviously, you're just going to decide that yourself. So pick a feature. You guys have silk flexibility, silk stickiness, bristle, venom, all these different traits you can choose from. Okay, so choose your trait. And you want to do anything but body size, so don't choose body size, okay? So for the first part of this, I want you guys, you'll be partner A. You're going to observe the cells for each spider and find a spider that makes only 1 type of protein for your selected feature. So maybe I go into silk stickiness. Silk stickiness. I'm going to maybe check Zora, and I got lucky on my first one because look, there's only 2 types of protein, and Zora only makes protein 1, okay? So once you've figured that out, you guys will answer the questions about that. Find a spider that makes only 1 type of protein for your selected feature. And then partner 2 is going to do the same thing, except they're going to find a spider for that same feature. In this case, I showed you guys silk stickiness, that makes 2 types of protein. So you're going to want to find a spider, unlike Zora, that makes protein 1 and protein 2, okay? Then again, as I've been kind of showing you guys this week, anytime you guys have a slide with a big old question mark on it, that's somewhere you guys need to answer a question. For this question, you can use your draw feature. You guys can choose a marker, choose a color. I don't really care which color you use. And you have 3 little boxes to make a selection. So the first one is feature you observed. You guys will circle the one that you chose, okay? Obviously, we didn't do body color, so you guys shouldn't have that one on there. So maybe my example, I showed you guys silk stickiness, so I would circle that one, okay? Or highlight it, it doesn't really matter as long as it's marked. And then name a spider that makes one type of protein. In this case, I did Zora. Obviously, don't use those 2, okay? Find one of your own that you guys can kind of branch out on. And then circle the one that you guys found that makes 2 types of protein, okay, for that same silk stickiness one. All right, clicking back on my cursor and moving on to the next question. It says, in the space below, list the ideas for why you think your first spider made 1 type of protein, while the second spider makes 2 types of protein for this feature. So think back to the figures I showed you guys up here in slides 4 and 5. Okay, and then just really examine your guys' spider and figure out why you think that Zora, for instance, just makes 1 type of protein, whereas whatever spider you guys chose might make 2. Okay, answer that question right here. It should be in purple. Okay, moving on to this activity, you have a second mission here. So what you're going to do is change the spider's genes. So again, you're playing the role of both the partners in this. So obviously you should already have your sim launched, but if not, you can right-click the link here and open that link. Work with your partner to change your spider's genes so that both spiders produce the same proteins for the feature you selected. So you guys can manipulate that any way you want. If you wanted to change it so Zora was making all of type 2, you could. That's up to you. Or you can pick a different spider and make them look more like Zora, whatever the case. But again, you guys are changing their genes. You guys are going to want to mess with these 2 little drop-down boxes here. Okay, change the one that they get from mom and then the one that they get from dad. And again, trying to reach the goal that both spiders produce the same proteins for the feature you selected. So they're just either producing type 1 protein or type 2 protein, or whatever types are available for that trait. Okay, then answer these 2 questions. What did you do to make the spiders produce the same proteins? So tell me how you changed their genes. Be specific about it. What was it before? What did you change it to? Did you do that for 1 gene, both genes? What did you have to do? And then how did this change affect the spider's traits? So think about how you changing the genes have affected the traits that that spider has. Think back of what you guys learned about when you watched this video about the Scottish fold cats. Okay, and then finally wrapping up, you guys can go ahead and do a little self-assessment here. So do you have any questions? If you do, use the draw feature. If you don't, either circle yes or no. If you guys have a question, type them below. Obviously, if it's a question that's preventing you from completing this assignment, go ahead and send me a message in Teams and I can help you out. And then rate yourself. How do you feel you did on this assignment? Number 4, I could teach this. Number 3, I own this. Number 2, I'm still unsure about a few things. And number 1, I have no clue what you're talking about. Okay? Once you guys are done, go ahead, check to make sure you have completed this whole assignment, especially the slides with the question marks. And go ahead and hand this assignment in. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.